What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of the CLT podcast where we get talk esports, sit down, meet everyone, have a great conversation. Joining me this week, Gid Saucer with Catawba College and Josh Sides with Winthrop University. Welcome, guys.
Whoa,
Thank you
again.
for having me.
Yeah, version 2, except for, you guys didn't get to see the other one. um, Well, I am happy to talk about whatever we want to talk about, but first, let's kick it over to Josh. Josh, give us the 1,000-foot background of how you ended up at Winthrop University.
Oh man, it is a long story. Um, so I'll give you the long short version.
Okay.
So I was working in Charlotte, in operations and supply chain, and I saw a Reddit post of a player saying they were getting a scholarship to play esports, to play League of Legends in college, and I thought, well, there's no way that's a real thing. Well, okay, well, I'll do a little more research, and I looked and I saw there were 5 or 6 colleges looking for head coaches out there. And I'd always wanted to coach. I've had a big focus in leadership my entire life, so I figured, why not put some resumes out there and see what happens. I applied to a bunch of different places, not expecting to hear back from anybody. Heard back from a lot. Ended up interviewing at a couple of different places and settled on St. Ambrose University in Davenport, Iowa, out in the Midwest, where esports is really heating up. Um, Went out there, started their program. We had a really successful first year. Saw that Winthrop was looking for a head coach and figured this would be an awesome way to come back to the area, to keep coaching and to coach at a school with a lot of high ambitions and a lot of big time resources.
Yeah. So you say you looked at schools and saw that they were hiring. Was that on their websites or were you using a specific website?
Well, so I literally just like Googled like college esports or whatever, and then
Yeah.
it popped up in Google, was like blah 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 college is hiring for an esports head coach, and I was like,
What?
okay, now I'll Google or college esports head coach, and then all those results came up.
Wow,
I
okay.
found like Hitmarker. There's a couple of sites out
Yeah,
there that are
Rec
specific
Global
to
has
the
one.
industry, Rect, and that's where you can really find them
There's a bunch on the
easily.
NACE website too. So if you're watching this and you want to be a head coach in esports or something like that, go to those websites and you can try too.
It's not that easy, but yeah.
Well, that was gonna be my next question. So you just applied. What was your background before? How did you kind of sell
So
it?
yeah, so the way I kind of pitched it was, I've been a lifelong esports fan and very passionate about esports. My background is very analytical, with a business degree with an economics minor. One of my hobbies was doing analysis of the LCS or of League of Legends. So just kind of nerdy stats stuff, and combine that with the real life work experience of working in a corporate environment and leadership role. Um, it just seemed like a
Yeah.
natural fit.
Cool. It's really funny you say that. So I was a business major, just like you. Not currently, but I kind of come from a logistical supply chain background too. So it's really interesting to see that general, because when I did it, it was very general, and that's kind of what I was
Mhm.
going for, because I didn't know what I was gonna do. But clearly all roads lead to esports when you're passionate about it.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to be passionate about it, be knowledgeable. Um, Honestly, a lot of people out there think you've got to be some kind of like ex pro to be a coach or something like that. And
Yeah.
if you just have a passion for it, the work ethic, and the willingness to learn,
Yeah.
that can go a long way.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's encouraging because I bet I mean, I don't know how much people walk up to you and be like, "Hey, I want to be your assistant coach" or anything like
yeah,
that. Does that happen a lot?
yeah, it happens quite a bit. Yeah, I get a lot of like, hey, are you guys hiring, assistant or a manager or something like that? I just want to get my foot in the door. I just want to get something on my resume. kind of
Yeah.
deal. So
Do you get that a lot too, Gid?
Yeah, probably 4 or 5 emails a week,
yeah,
not counting the door knocks and the weird like head poking. Okay.
yep.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty par for the course for. Sorry, I'm reading while I'm talking. Pretty par for the course for most people. And it's kind of cool. At least for me, it was kind of cool at first. It was like, oh, cool, yeah, I'll answer it. And
Right.
then after like the 20th, 30th, and then a year later, you're like, okay,
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
that's enough. Like,
Well,
Right.
and it's really interesting because I would imagine that's how the school feels with the head coaching position, or like, and you guys can go into depth on like what the structure looks like, but like, I would imagine that school has like kind of things they're looking for, but at times I also think that they don't know exactly what they're looking for, and if you can just show up and sell it to them, then they'll buy.
Yeah. No, I think that's probably fair. I mean,
So I,
that was my plan.
this is something I've never really discussed, and I'm kind of curious, and either of you can jump in on it. So, when you talk about like a school structure of how an esports program looks, because there's a lot of different levels of what it can look like, and obviously when it's smaller, it's kind of like a small business where like one person is kind of doing everything. But I feel like there's a lot of ways that you could like branch out to have like an esports director and then several coaches that kind of list on the side over here, and then like a face of it, so a media person and a content creation team and a production team to be able to push all that stuff. Is that pretty accurate or?
uh,
Yeah, I feel like that's like an ideal structural model, right? That's kind of like what people are trying to build, but the resources haven't quite caught up with that.
Sure,
yeah,
yeah,
I think it's different per college. I mean, you look at like UCI and Boise State.
Yeah.
Um, UCI is a little bit more known for being competitive internationally. Not saying Boise isn't, but both programs either focus on broadcasting or like the LAN aspect. Boise does a really good job on the broadcasting aspect, and I would look up their facilities if
It's
nobody
great.
has. It's pretty nutty. But then you have like smaller schools who are like, okay, we don't have the resources to build that kind of setup, so we're going to try and focus on the player side. Um, and then some schools are like, okay, we don't have enough for either one.
mm,
So what can we do to bring people in to go to school here and focus on their degree while doing it? You know, which
yeah,
everybody should be, but some schools focus more on, hey, just come play, we'll give you a scholarship and then
Right.
graduate, and you count as one of our numbers. So um, I
interesting.
would say a majority fall into that one, actually,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Well, it's because it's not like whenever it becomes like there's an NCAA like a televised thing that they understand, and maybe it's Twitch or maybe it's another platform where like they're getting thousands upon thousands of views that they directly feel, right? Because when you watch like an Alabama game, people are buying Alabama gear. You know, the whole stadium's full of
Right.
Alabama. Like the merchandise sales are there, and there's several other pieces there. So it's like how do you go from bare minimum at your cost to be able to kind of hey this is where we need to be? Is it like something where you show the leadership at the school and they listen, or like how does that kind of grind out?
Yeah, I mean, ideally, I think that would be the way you would go about that. I mean, you
Yeah,
have to demonstrate value, and you have to kind of learn how to speak their language. You got to know that the the stakeholder you're talking to is probably not interested in winning for the sake of winning, or
sure,
having a competitive team just to say you do. You kind of got to make it. What's their what's their what do they see as valuable? What's their value proposition, and
yeah,
kind of build around that.
it's interesting. I feel like it's really hard, especially so say you're like a head coach for a school that wants an esports program but doesn't really know what they want, can't really get where you're going because of the funding piece, right? So like what do you do with the bare minimum? Is it like your players bring in their own computers and you just try and find a spot? Or like what does that look like for those guys?
Hmm.
Cuz I feel like you guys are in better positions than they are, so I'm trying
So
to like I just trying to understand their perspective on like how to
So most like Blizzard now, and especially Nays, will not recognize you as a varsity program without having your own provided equipment and space.
Oh,
So
really?
you
Okay.
kind of can't even get to that point until you do commit those resources. Otherwise, you're just a club. So, uh, yeah, I mean that's kind of the first step. No matter what, you're really not even welcome. I don't want to say not welcome, but not accepted per se until you show that you actually mean business and want to support your school team. So, um, I know, like Josh, I think you guys are building the new arena. Like you're in a temp space or something
We're
like that.
we're in a space right now that we're kind of building on as we go. We just installed soundproofing today, so I mean, it's
Nice.
That's
literally
good.
just like
That's good.
upgrades as we go along. As we're looking to continue to expand in the area that we're in
Yeah.
on campus and keep building out from there. But yeah, we have our space now. Finally,
Oh, there you go.
we had
That
that. Well, we got that like back in July. They finally settled on a space for us. We were between a couple of different options, and they finally said it will be here back in like late June, early July, and I'm like, that's great to know. We have a lot of work to do on getting it up to what we want. So
mhm.
um, we're still working on getting the aesthetic side, I guess, up to what we're looking to do with like graphics and the look of it. But as far as functioning,
It
it's everything they
functions.
need.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's everything they need. Um, Here's a fun one. Is there any? So I know about, and forgive me for like this is kind of educational for me. I'm trying to understand like y'all's perspective. Um, so I know NACE is like this. I would call it a governing body. Is that not true? Not true?
It
Kind of.
is now.
Yeah. So the governing body where you have to pay a fee to enter into NACE, right?
Yes.
So NACE, and then you're a part of like this little club, and I would imagine they give you a whole bunch of resources in order to kind of be
No.
successful. Or no? That
No.
that's their goal. That's you.
No.
They
I'm a bit more blunt than I think a lot of
No, I love it. Send it.
the coaches and directors in the program, and there's a couple other guys who are even way more beyond me. Like way they really push it.
Mhm.
But no, I actually I don't think NACE is at the point where they have the ability to give you the resources to be successful. I
Yeah.
think they're on track.
So
Um,
like, I'm not talking like financial resources. Like, here's the answer to all the questions along your path to
yeah,
build your
no,
esports program. They
no,
can't help you with that,
no,
really. Oh,
no.
really?
They'll try.
Yeah, they'll
Um,
try.
but I just and I don't and it to be fair, it's not from a lack of trying. It's not from a lack of, not having the right connections. I think they've just grown way too fast for how many they are. I mean, if you sit down and talk to like Michael, and it's like he hasn't slept in 2 years.
Right. They have the
So
right intentions. I mean,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
just they don't
uh,
give you anything for your $2,500. So
right,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
not yet.
a yearly
So
not
fee.
yet, exactly. Right now. It's like you're buying into it because you know that, or you hope that it will become the thing that you're looking for,
Is
basically.
it $2,500 a year?
yeah.
What? How many?
Actually, it's
Is
this
it more
go
now?
around. I think anybody who signed up within the last year actually paid 2,500 for like 8 months, or I
Oh
think
man.
anytime this year because
Mhm.
they redid. So it used to be you'd sign up and then you would just pay again.
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
whenever the rolling date of your last sign up. Now it's from like August to September. So for instance, like us, we paid I think last November or December,
Mhm.
but we have to pay again
It came up again.
like a month ago. So,
Yeah.
so we didn't even get a full year before having to pay again. So there are some institutions that are probably getting a little screwed by that.
Yeah.
But then again, what's the alternative?
Well,
Like,
so
you
like,
can't really.
what does NACE really do for you then? Like, what's their pitch? What do they want to do for you? I guess.
They want to be the NCAA of esports. I
Yeah.
feel is that accurate? I don't.
I
Maybe
like
that's my
when I
opinion.
look at them,
mean,
I don't think
I
they're
don't
trying to
know.
do that though. Like when I look at it from the outside, I don't know.
I don't know if they know. I mean, to be honest, like I think that they really badly want to have that seat at the table where they can advocate for college and grow college in the collegiate scene. I just don't think that they've done that very well.
Mm. Hmm.
For example, I mean, we at St. Ambrose we were in ACE school. Um, Winthrop, I mean, when I was asked, I just said I would rather not pay that and have that extra money in my budget because I mean I'll get more out of it that way
Yeah.
until NACE starts providing that return on investment. Then
Something. Yeah. Well, it's
And
funny. Go ahead, kid.
oh,
Sorry.
I was gonna say that's a sentiment that a lot of the schools that are still members
mhm.
share with Josh. And even I, like I said, I question what exactly you get out of the 2,500 as well.
Yeah.
I think I was kind of an asshole at the NACE convention, to be honest,
You
at
have to
certain
be
points. Yeah, but it wasn't because like, oh, hey, I'm trying to be a dick to you guys. It's like, hey, there's 200 schools spending
right.
$2,500, and all we've seen is a high res tournament that was open to anybody.
Mhm.
So this year, that's a little different, but give or take, that's kind of like now you can understand the frustrations of the institutions
Mm.
from previous years. And I coached at one of the founding institutions, KWU,
Yep.
who were very proud of having their affiliation with NACE and whatnot. And even then, it was kind of like, okay, we're a founding institution. What are we getting? Oh yeah, hey, here's a handshake and have
Right.
fun.
Yeah.
So
Because they don't
um,
run a league, right? Like Riot runs the college league for League
Well,
of
so
Legends.
they
Sorry.
did like the year before we joined, they had their own like Overwatch, like NACE only tournament and all
Okay.
of that, but I mean they don't do stuff like that anymore. But I think they are this year, right? For certain titles.
yeah, they're doing a couple, but it's not something that a school that's not associated with NACE can't do, like in
Right.
CSL
So
or
they can
something
all do
else.
it.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean it is some of them are NACE specific,
Mhm.
but it's not like you're missing out. Like okay,
Right.
hey, we're not a part of NACE, but CSL is doing the same type of tournament, right? So, um,
Mm.
and that's always going to happen. That's not the fault of NACE. It's just that it's now been, I think, what 4 or 5 years
Yeah.
that they've been active, and this is the first time you're seeing a giant, not even a giant, just a bigger push
Yeah.
for it.
Huh. So then, how does that compare to like TESPA, right? Because TESPA's not, there's no fee, and they run some kind of league though, but I don't know what it is.
Well, I think the difference is you have to be in TESPA to compete in TESPA. So like they have that seat at the table with Blizzard because they're part of Blizzard.
Okay.
So if you want to compete in collegiate Overwatch, you have one option basically. I
Really?
mean, there's like a CSL Overwatch, but I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, TESPA's it, right? So
So CSL does run an Overwatch league though.
I think so.
Okay. I just,
Yeah.
I didn't.
Uh, maybe I don't know.
I'm not sure.
It's
We're
a
not
good
in it.
question.
Yeah.
We're in the league stuff, dude. I can't answer the. I don't know if they do. I don't. Overwatch rules, collegiate Star League. I don't know how old this is.
Mm.
I think
Oh,
that they do. I think they have like, I think they
one
do it
sec.
as like weekend tournaments or whatever, not like an actual league.
I am
Mm.
on Dean on call, so give me 1 second. They're calling me.
So
Josh,
when the dean's calling, you
yeah,
got
you're like, I
to
gotta go. The dean's calling, guys.
go.
Whenever he calls, you answer. So, what do
He's
you guys
right.
compete in? What leagues do you compete in?
So this semester we've competed in. We went to the Hugh Fest Invitational up in Harrisburg. That
Yep.
was just a
Yep.
weekend land tournament. We'd love to go to more land tournaments. I mean, those are like the events that we really love and enjoy. In Overwatch, we competed in TESPA Varsity, and for League, we competed in AVGL. And that's probably going to be it for the year or for the fall for those two.
Wow.
And then next semester we'll have TESPA spring varsity for Overwatch and CLOL for League of Legends through the Riot's new RSAA or whatever.
Okay. So Riot's creating a new League of
Mhm.
Legends. thing
They made
that's
their association, their like NCAA equivalent or whatever type thing for
oh.
it's called the Riot Scholastic
So they're trying to
Association.
put Nace out, huh? Or do
I
they
don't know if it's directly I don't know if they're directly trying to put Nace out, but um I mean they obviously Nace can't host a League of Legends tournament and no one else can host, a big collegiate League of Legends tournament except for Collegiate Star League apparently. So
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was gonna get at is the fact that like it's kind of the same problem that exists in all the other pieces of the industry is that if you want to run some kind of event, the publisher has to sign off on it, right?
yep. Yep. That's
So
the way it is in collegiate just the same as it is in pro.
yeah,
I
and
think league has like a certain prize pool that if it's over this amount you have to get their approval.
it's 5K. Yeah,
Yeah, so
I've tried to run them before, and like I've never actually reached out to actually run an event for a
Mhm.
league, just because I've tried to run league events here locally. It's so hard to get players. I think there's just the diversity of like finding a top, a mid, a
You have
jungle.
to have a team. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they just don't exist, and then it's hard to get people that like don't know each other to play the first time together.
Yep.
Um, but I I don't know how you feel about this, and this is so like far from left field. So like if you think this is really stupid,
Bring
just
it.
tell me. I was researching one day about like antitrust laws and just
Mhm.
like the amount of when does it become a monopoly and you own all of the space based off of something you've created. And I found this awesome article, and I'll have to send it to you on like
Yeah.
what it looks like from a developer standpoint when they say only certain people can run their game and why it kind of breaks some of those laws from what the article says. I think it's kind of a stretch, right? Because it's really really challenging me like no League of Legends, you don't anybody can run your game, right?
Right.
And that's a hard conversation to have, but I also think that like if all these guys, the developers really like wanted to cater to the player base, like that's what they need to do because they're like the biggest hindrance on making it bigger than what it is currently. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all like IP law is like a new
Oh yeah, dude.
big deal or whatever. So I mean, it's their intellectual property. They can do with it whatever they want. Um, I mean, and at the end of the day, I think they don't want their brand to fall into a situation where I guess leagues that kind of tarnish the name of League of Legends or
Sure.
whatever can be
Yeah.
run and stuff like that. But I
Yep.
mean, it's a weak argument. I just feel like if someone wants to hold a tournament, it benefits it benefits that game to have that tournament. I mean, the more competitions you have, the more people interested in playing competitively you have. That increases your player base. That increases people specializing in just your game.
Yeah.
Um, those are the people that typically spend money in games. Those are the people that'll get their friends to play with them. So, I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But at the same time, I understand wanting to hold on to your kind of your cards there.
Yeah.
Those are your chips.
Yeah, cuz
Instead of giving that out to everybody.
there's so much money to be made, and like the idea of like a sponsor coming in and giving like $1 million to a tournament organizer to run
Right.
something, right? So like I'm sure that that's a fear too, like all that money we could have made. So I guess
Pretty much.
I get it. It just makes me like I feel like it's not genuine to gamers, right?
hmm
So I don't know. We can move off this topic. I
But
kind
that's
of
something that no, but I mean that's something that we're seeing in the current events right now is that these publishers and these companies aren't necessarily for gamers. It's
yeah
not convenient for them to be for gamers.
yeah
They're for their shareholders. They're for their profits. And I mean that's kind of I mean that's what's got to be healthy for them, I guess.
yeah
But
yeah.
it's not good for us.
It's a bummer because like I have like some investors I talk to that are like, CJ, I want to keep this genuine no matter what we do. I want to keep it genuine to make it about the fans and all that stuff. And it's so crazy to be like, well, the developer doesn't even care if it's genuine at
Right.
times. It's like I could see people within the organization for the developers keeping it genuine, but like the people on the top, like they don't care.
Yeah. I
So
mean
so
it's
frustrating.
admirable I mean, like the companies that do support that kind of like stuff, though, that do support their players, are seeing the players sticking around.
That's right.
Like the Epic Games stuff where they came out and they were all supporting free speech and stuff like that,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah.
it just happened to coexist around the time that Fortnite Season 2 or whatever, Chapter 2 or whatever came out. But
Directly against like whatever's going on in Blizzard Land too. Yeah.
yeah, and there's a lot of players playing Fortnite right now. So
Hey. Dude, did you
when
stare at a black hole for 2 days?
no, I actually haven't played that game in so long, but
It's so
a lot
funny.
of people did.
It got me, dude. I like
It
went
got
on
you.
and stared at the black hole for like an hour, and I was like,
Yeah, I
"What's
mean,
gonna happen?" And nothing happened. I was so upset.
it's a tense moment.
Yeah, and then
I saw where someone was streaming it, and it had like more views than like
yeah,
one
dude.
person that was like streaming the black hole or whatever had more views than like entire other games. So
Tifu was sitting on 300,000
yeah,
viewers, just
yeah,
chilling,
exactly.
and I was like, "What?" And they were playing like Hangman, like they're playing word
Right,
games or Monopoly or
right.
whatever. Um, Also, I did download it and play it. It made me. I have
See,
actually not played Fortnite for like a year, and I
I
downloaded
got
it and play it to just give it a
you. I got
shot.
you.
What do you think about? So you know about the Cary facility where they expanding their headquarters,
hmm
2,000 more people, blah 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 blah. What do you think? What do you think they're gonna do next?
I'm not. I honestly don't know. They obviously they want to be more than just the Fortnite game or the what is the engine
Unreal?
that they
Not
sell, the Unreal Engine
yeah
guys or whatever. They
yeah
obviously want, with their like Epic Games store and stuff like that, they obviously want to be a bigger player in the market. And it's cool to see them investing. It's really cool to see them as a company in the Carolinas investing.
yep yeah definitely.
Um, I
Raleigh's
mean,
such a weird spot for all that too.
yeah,
It's like doesn't
for
make
sure.
sense, but
They should come down to Charlotte.
yeah,
Get
that's what I'm
Epic
saying,
Games down to
dude.
Charlotte, right?
Is there a developer here?
In Charlotte, other
Yeah.
than 704, the
Yeah, yeah,
iRacing
yeah, yeah,
guys,
yeah,
but I think that's it.
yeah. Yeah.
Charlotte.
So let me give you my theory. This is the theory I came up with after
All right,
watching
hit me with
the.
it.
So I watched a Business of Esports podcast. Have you seen that one?
hmm
So they're mostly on like they actually don't do video. It's all things, but they're talking about this facility, and it kind of clicked in my brain because they're talking about World of Warcraft at the same time. And I think Fortnite wants to become the World of Warcraft of not necessarily like the battle royale genre. I actually think they'll shift from the battle royale genre to go to like an MMORPG where it's like imagine like Destiny and you know what I'm getting at. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like a
yeah,
Fortnite world where you do
right.
all kinds of different games and like it can be like a battle royale section or it can be
hmm
this section or whatever and they create the Fortnite world as like World of Warcraft. The biggest player in it was the world,
Yeah,
right? That you're communicating with and interacting with. And I
it's
think
like
that
those Minecraft game hubs where you
yep,
like get on and it's like over here is Hunger Games and over here is Sky Wars and stuff like that, or Bed Wars and's over here and stuff
yep,
like that. They could
yeah.
they could do that. They could have a little hub and you
Yep, and you just
pick
kind of
which
just
one.
travel the world and go play whatever
Yeah,
like game within game that you're gonna play. Cause
right.
like you don't hire that many people unless you have like a big thing to roll out, and I think that's it. I really do because it
hmm
makes a lot of sense for what they're doing. Cause if you saw Fortnite 2, it has
hmm
like it has RPG-s things, right? You level up as you're playing now. There's more kind of the in-game isn't just about the battle royale and the skins anymore. It's a little bit
hmm
more in depth now. So, that's my theory. Quote it.
That's not a bad theory. I mean, that's very believable. I mean,
Right?
it'd be a good it's not a bad model, and if Epic Games is listening, you should maybe think about that, guys.
You
That's
can also come to Charlotte whenever you want to.
yeah,
Um,
come hang out.
what else? What else is missing in Charlotte? Do you think that it needs for
Um,
esports?
hmm, cheaper Korean barbecue.
Oh, dude, definitely
Um,
that. Always. I
they,
love
they only
Korean.
have the one spot, and it's $30 an hour.
Yeah,
It's
dude, I love
it's
Korean
a little
barbecue.
too
By the
much
way,
for gamers. Oh, me too.
I'm a huge fan.
Um, no, in all honesty, I mean, um, there's not a lot of accessible. I feel like there's not a lot of accessible land centers, and there's just not a ton of infrastructure for tournaments around here. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like in the Midwest, we could pick up and go to a tournament once every week or so.
Oh, really?
When you come out, yeah, I mean, out there, I mean, and Gid can talk to it too. I mean, out there, they're esports hungry. They're tournaments all the time.
Yeah.
They most of them are like bring your own PC, and it's just prize pools a percent of the the entries and stuff like that. So it's not necessarily like big tournaments or whatever, but there's a scene out there to be competitive, year round or whatever. Whereas here, um, I don't really have anything local to take my guys to, and I mean, I'd love to take them to more events and stuff like that, but the closest event in the next couple of weeks is
Eh,
6.5 hours away in Hampton,
NecoCon.
Virginia.
It's
So
so funny that we're going to that. I just
you guys might win. From what I've heard, there's like 4 teams entered, so
Hey, dude.
you got a good shot.
That's why we did it. It was like the value, like we have to beat
Hmm.
like two teams, and it's like
Right.
$350 to enter.
Yep.
So it's like the value's good on it if it pays
Yep.
off. So hey, here we go. No, and it's so funny. I actually started down this road. That was like when we started in last
Mhm.
October. What we wanted to do, we're like, oh, we're gonna bring events to Charlotte, and then we kind of, we rebranded ourselves and we've done a couple of things for there. But like, I'm totally a believer that like I started a movement where it's like events in Charlotte can happen. I've literally painted the path for like this is what people will do, and I'm gonna do a couple more events that are like really big and they're gonna scale. And I'm hoping I just get a copycat because I would love to get out of events
That would
after
be,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, like hey, this is how you do it. You can make a lot of money with events. I'm totally like I know how to make money with events,
Right.
but I hate running them. They're a pain in the butt. Like you have to have the right people in the right place, and they have to be logistically minded, and it's
Mhm.
long hours, right? But you get paid if you want to do that stuff. You could totally do it, and but like I've created a couple smaller copycats that haven't gotten to the level that I think they could get to.
I
But
think that's one of the things that you see out in the Midwest is there's a lot of people like tournament organizers and event specific folks like Midwest Esports, Macomb.
oh, you've been to Midwest
Um,
before?
mhm.
I know the owner of that guy, Rush
Oh yeah, yeah. I
Austin.
mean,
He's a good
yep,
guy. Yeah,
yeah. They're taking over out there. But there's a couple of big tournament organizers out there who are just putting tournaments out like left and right. So
yeah. That's interesting that that's like the biggest void for y'all right now, especially because like they gotta have a winner to them, right? Like
yep.
it's ah man, huh.
Oof.
Food for thought. What do you think about a Call of Duty team, CCL?
Um, with the new pro league, if that becomes a thing that actually like latches on and becomes a real thing,
Yeah,
then I think that we would definitely look to we I think we'd be unwise not to field the
yeah.
team, to be honest. I mean,
There's
it
a
seems like
there's a where I graduated, Liberty University has the Call of Duty Collegiate League. So like
uh-huh.
for them, it's like you don't pay a fee. I think actually there might be like a small fee, like $50, in
Hmm.
order to get a team in there. And most of the kids are really not good, and that's like what it's known for right now. But I feel like that could change as like time goes on. Colleges
Yeah.
invest more money into it. But the amateur place is definitely something you can look into, right? This
Yep.
next Call of Duty comes out on Friday. In the next 2 weeks, there's like three 10Ks to go too
Right.
within the first 3 weeks of the game, and you're like, whoa, like the competitive modes aren't even out, and they're
Mhm.
already like throwing down mad money, and it's going crazy. So it's like it's definitely a space to get involved in.
I think so too. There's a couple of games that we're looking at for next year that Call of Duty, if the Pro League, really catches on, and it seems like there's a big collegiate opportunity for us.
Yeah, the Challenger division.
Yeah, NBA 2K. Um,
Really?
I
That one's
want to find someone to do the infrastructure to do a collegiate NBA 2K league bigger than what like CSL is doing and do it similar to like college basketball. You
oh
know what I
yeah,
mean? And then
sure.
have a March Madness
Yep.
kind of 64 team bracket or whatever.
Oh, that would be
You know,
sick, dude.
right? I mean,
Yes.
and yeah, so I mean, um, you just need 5 guys for that. So, let's see, and Rocket League. Well, Rocket League's one that we're looking at really
Their
seriously,
their
just
collegiate
because.
league is pretty big, from what I
Yeah.
understand. I've seen a lot of their stuff.
hmm Yeah, it's I mean it's popping off right now, the collegiate Rocket League scene. So is it something we want to get into?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, if it is, I'll connect you with we have a coach for our professional
Nice.
team, Jimmer, and he actually was like, "Yo, if any of the colleges start a Rocket League team, I would love to talk to those guys
Yeah.
and like
Oh man.
kind of the
Yeah,
path to success for them for
for
sure.
sure.
Just hit me up and we'll get that going."
For sure, we'll do. We'll probably start thinking about those decisions in like February, early
Yeah.
February, as far as like where we want to expand into.
Okay. Cool.
Um,
It's exciting
we're
for the
kind of
future.
yeah, no, I mean,
Looking for players, looking for you watching this video, dude. Come,
yeah,
we want Call of Duty, Rocket League, NBA 2K, all of them. Winthrop's
whatever,
going there.
the whole deal. Yeah, and I mean that's another thing is like I have people reaching out to me that are like, hey, I know you guys only are Overwatch and League of Legends right now. I'm a really good Rocket League player, say,
Yeah,
and I'm interested in coming if you guys are willing to start a program, and that to have that kind of um, support already out there, it kind of makes it a little bit of an easier choice. Like if I
definitely.
had three really good Rocket League players who were like, "We want to come," then I mean, I'd be like, "Yeah, you just
Done.
made my job that much easier."
Yep.
Okay, we'll have Rocket League then.
There you go. Yeah.
Rocket League's threes, right?
Yeah, threes. That game is like I've learned a lot since picking up this RLRS team. They're actually good people. Like
Mhm.
I don't know how Overwatch is. League's kind of toxic at times, but like COD's awful.
Overwatch is probably the most toxic game
Yeah.
I've ever played online.
Yeah. So
the,
like
the the
Rocket League
comp community
people
is
are
bad.
like there's some bad eggs, but for the
Mhm.
most part, I've seen good people, like good
Really,
human beings treating each other with respect. Like it's been weird. I'm like, what in
I've
the world?
I've never tilted harder in a game than in Rocket League, so I don't understand that at all. That game is like the most frustrating thing
Yeah.
when you like concede that like 2-1 goal with
Yeah.
like 13 seconds
Yeah.
left, and you're just
Yeah.
like,
It's
I've never typed such awful things
Ah!
than
It's so
back when
mechanically
Rocket League came
intensive.
out.
Yeah,
It really is though.
yeah, it's hard. Yeah.
You guys are kicking butt.
We're 3-1, baby. Going
Yeah, I
hard.
saw. I
Yeah.
saw. You guys I saw on Twitter the other day, you guys it looks like you guys like destroyed whatever team it was you
Oh
guys
yeah,
played. So
they're the top seeded team too. Yeah, we crushed
really,
those guys. Yeah, we lost last night to Bullsen though. The guys looked a little. They came out slow. They looked weird. Everything about the game looked weird. I don't know what the deal was,
was
but
that after the big win?
yeah, it
So like,
was. Yeah, we got a
yeah, I
big
mean
win, and I don't know if they were
that
chilling
happens.
or what.
Get a
Yeah, it
big
was.
head,
Yeah, I
3
don't.
and 0. You beat the best team.
Yeah, it went
Get
to
a little
game
cocky.
5. I mean, went to last map. They only beat us by 1 goal. You know, like
Wow,
it wasn't like we were in the game the whole time. We just one of their guys on their team was just making some crazy saves, like
Smurfing.
yeah, just like no matter what, it was just always there, and it's like, dude, it's crazy. But
Did you guys ever do that watch party you guys were talking about for
so
that?
we're doing the watch party next week, next Sunday at UNCC.
Nice.
We're giving away a headset. We're giving away a bunch of merch. We're giving away coffee mugs. I bought 2 flags, so we're just gonna run around and scream whenever they score a goal and stuff. It's gonna be so fun. So
Nice.
if you can make it out, it's at 5 p.m. If you want to drive all the way up there.
Yeah, I might be able to.
Yeah, then you can recruit some. Dude, that UNCC, those
Rocket League.
guys, yeah, Rocket League players, they have a ton of them. And no
Just poach their team.
no varsity. I don't know if they have a varsity program. Maybe they do.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Gid would know.
Yeah.
So let's kind of wrap it up. I'll give you last words, shout outs, anything you want to say to the general public. Go for it.
Yeah. Shout outs to my to Winthrop University first and foremost,
For employing you.
for employing me for believing in esports and giving us the platform and the resources to do what we're doing. Shout out to all my players, top to bottom, best group of guys I've ever worked with. We're kicking butt, and this is only what 2 months in, so
Yeah.
building something special.
Heck yeah.
Um, check us out this weekend. We got our stream going. We had our first stream last weekend of our Overwatch team. This weekend we'll be at twitch.tv/Winthrop Esports at 4 p.m. Our last TESPA varsity regular season match, we take on Northeastern University. They
Okay.
actually have a Pharaoh one trick who's pretty well known named Matt. So that'll be a fun match.
Cool.
We're what's our record? We're 5-1 right now, so
All right, dude,
we're already
smoking
set.
them.
We're qualified for the playoffs, but
There you go.
we're not gonna take our foot off the gas.
Well, hit me up whenever you can tag me in those tweets, man. I'll retweet them out
Will
for you,
do.
so you can
I
get
will
some
do that.
locals. Yeah, dude, for
Yep.
sure.
All right, yeah, and Twitter at Winthrop Esports and Twitter at WinUBo, I think my Twitter is. I don't know. Anyways.
I don't know what just. Oh, there you go. That was weird. I think Gid finally dropped off. Okay.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
that's gonna do it for this episode of the CLT podcast. Make sure to tune in next week. Actually, we're doing another podcast Wednesday with AGN. Those are Call of Duty guys, but we'll see you then. Thanks for tuning in. See you in the next one. Bye.
Peace.